So welcome to the first in a series of webinars on how to build your business. And as we thought, how do we introduce an entire series of resources and strategies to you on how to build your own business? And by the way, you'll see as we go on, it's not relegated to just building your business. It actually has everything to do with building your life as an entrepreneur and as a business owner. We said, well, where do we start? There's so many resources. There's so many strategies. You know, we can get right into internet marketing and website design and development and some of the cool stuff that's going on these days that we all want to know about, you know, like mobile marketing and QR codes. There's so much about marketing and promotions. But what we've learned, the both of us, Randy and myself, in building successful businesses is, you know, if you don't start from the bare essentials, and I know for some of you listening on this call says, well, don't take me back to any bare essentials. I'm already running a successful business. Well, as successful as our businesses are, we found that sometimes when you revisit the place of the basics, of the foundation, you can actually go out there and build a taller skyscraper. Sometimes at your own level of basics, you might not be able to go to that higher stage. And that's what this webinar is all about. It's the beginning of looking at your business and looking at your business as you can work on your business. Sometimes we're so focused, running on a daily basis, working in our business, that we forget to look at our business from a bird's eye view. And so this is exactly what that is as we start on this series of webinars. And every webinar following is going to build on that in very deep and meaningful ways so that you can take a look at your business very, very strategically. And there'll be lots and lots of not only strategies, but tools and resources that you will learn about as well. So we're very excited to bring this to you. Look at this. We're taking it right to the back on the purpose of webinars. Who would have thought? But what we wanted to make clear is there were so many ways in which for us to deliver this training and to bring it out there to, you know, my community, Randy's community. In social media, there is a community that we are developing on the fly. And I want you to get that for your business as well, that once you know how to use the power of Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, and there's so many others out there, the power of video on YouTube, you will see that it is so dynamic. It's real time. And so we live in a time and age where we can not only build our business there, but we wanted to deliver our business training out there for a number of reasons. I mean, the purpose of a webinar, first of all, is to educate. But you can educate, you know, you can train, and you can share knowledge anywhere. We could have done it in a physical room. But you know, with the global economy and the global village really becoming a reality, it doesn't matter if your business is in Toronto, where I am right now, or in Richmond Hill. You're going to have to look that up on the map somewhere where Randy is. That is very close to Toronto. It's one of the suburbs here. Or if you're calling in from Australia, as I can see we have on the call here, or in any part of the world, this global economy is becoming a reality. So the global village is right here, and social media makes it possible. So the purpose of webinars for us was also to deliver this training real time to anyone, anywhere. And because of the replay, and because we can record this, it doesn't even matter that you're listening to a recording right now, wherever you are. But real time as we go along, or recording, you get this training just like it was first delivered in your living room, in your office. I don't want to say on the road because that wouldn't be safe. But you get it, that anywhere you are with the internet connectivity, or even a recording that you can take with you to the beach, you can get this real time, whether you're sipping brandy in the evening or coffee in the morning. And so that is the power I want you to get as you listening to this call as a business owner, coach, mentor, or someone who is able to teach and share their own wealth of knowledge, has to consider in your own business. How do you educate your own customers, prospects, and how do you educate the people that you want to get your message out to? So purpose of webinars, very important as the basis of why we want to deliver this teaching in this way.
Ash, did you introduce yourself and me as well?
Well, that's so important. And here I assume that everybody knew who we are, but I guess someone stumbling upon this webinar may not know. Why don't I introduce myself in that case, Randy, and then we'll have you introduce yourself as well. Ash Silva, and what I do here is I'm known as a connectologist. And what that means is that I connect businesses to opportunities, strategies, more business, and more people. And in knowing a lot of businesses, and in dealing with a lot of businesses, in selling to and into a lot of businesses, I am able to strategize and see other potential for businesses and then connect them and triangulate business opportunities, which we can get there at a latest webinar of how that works in, how do you do joint ventures. And so that's what I do. I bring business together, and that's what the purpose of this webinar is to connect you to a ton of resources and strategies and opportunities that I have that I want to share with you. Randy?
Fantastic, Ash, and I'm glad I'm here as well to be able to join you. And my background in my business, which is Foglight Search, we're basically an internet marketing company, so we help local businesses to basically get more customers from the internet. So naturally, we'll be talking about a number of technical topics in the future and so forth, about how to use things like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, those kind of things. But that's basically my background, and I'm here as well to try to help you guys to be able to build your businesses wherever your businesses are and whatever you're trying to do within your businesses. So I'm going to just take the next quick slide here, Ash, then I'll pass it back to you. And what we want is basically, we know, because we've been on many webinars ourselves and so forth as well, that focus is always a challenge. I know that you've probably got your phone beside you. You may even be looking at your email while I'm speaking right now. Maybe you're even on Facebook and doing stuff at the same time. But I would really encourage you, maybe just for the next 50-odd minutes that we have left here of this particular teleconference, to maybe just shut the door, clock the door so that you won't be interrupted by other people. Maybe turn off your cell phone, or at least put it on vibrate so it doesn't distract you. And just put away your different distractions from Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. And the reason really is because what we're going to be talking about today is really the foundation for a business, and it's really what is going to allow you to have a solid base in which to build your business from. And it's really going back to first principles and back to the basics. So this is really for you to not just be always working in your business and doing all the things you have to do in your business, but to actually work on your business. So I'd really encourage you just for the next 50 minutes to really focus, so that way you don't get distracted by all the things around you. And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Ash to talk about the next slide.
As I look at this slide, and we're getting into the meat and potatoes of what Randy and myself decided to deliver today. And we thought, well, how can we deliver this foundational webinar? How can we really help you build a deep foundation in your business? And there were so many ways to cover the topic. We decided to approach it from a very deep way in terms of personal empowerment and inspiration. And here's the reason why. There's ways to build a foundation by going to school and taking a bachelor's or a master's in finance, or a doctorate in business. You can go to the University of Hard Knocks and be running around learning things the hard way, and that's where I studied as well. But sometimes if you don't have some of the real basics that we'll cover, which goes deeper than that, you could be running fast in the wrong direction. Or you could be climbing the ladder of success, as I've seen so many times in my career and in my experience, and you climb the ladder of supposed success only to find out that it was leaning against the wrong building as you peer up on top of the clouds, and you're not where you wanted to be because you did not know. And so what we decided to do was go so deep that it comes down to one very simple common denominator known as the why. And we'll be getting more into the why and the why for your why, because it's without a why for your life, for your career, for your business, for yourself, for what you do, there is no how. And you'll find in the next 45 minutes, that the stronger the why, the more clear your how becomes. The deeper your why, the taller you can build your structure. And so the why, or the foundation, is going to allow you to build that skyscraper. And speaking from my own experience, uh, what the biggest thing I found is I was like that hamster on a treadmill, thinking I was going someplace but going nowhere, because the why was not clear enough to, on those dark, gloomy days, for me to get out of bed and actually make it happen, or to have that clarity of why am I doing what I'm doing, or did I just pick the next shiny object? Am I just moving in the direction that someone told me to move? Am I doing it to please somebody else? So that's what we're going to get into, is the flow of the positive energy, and to have that compelling why through which any how is possible.
All right, so I think what we want to do right here and right now is for you to at least start working on your why statement. And I mean, most people, when you go, so why are you in business? I mean, and people go, oh, I'm here in business to make money. That's always a good answer. I'm here in business to make money. But then really behind that, you can just keep drilling down. Well, why are you in business to make money? Well, I got to take care of my family. Okay, well, why are you trying to take care of your family? Well, it's because I'm responsible for it. Well, why are you responsible? And you just keep digging why and go deeper and deeper and deeper, where you finally can get to the point where, well, the reason why I want to be able to take care of my family and to be able to provide for them is because when I was growing up, a lot of times, my parents were not there to help me all the time when I needed them, and so on and so forth, or maybe we struggled when we were young and so on. So that's the reason why I need to make sure that I take care of them, because providing for my family is just so important to me. That may be your why. So it's really getting back down to the grassroots of why did you start a business? What is the business, and why did you decide to start this business, and what is it that you that really drives you and is your motivation for doing what you do? So what I invite you to do right now, we're going to give you just a couple minutes to work on this. I know we probably won't get complete done, but what I want you to do is take out a piece of paper. Again, I know in this day and age who takes out paper, but you can take out a piece of paper. It's good sometimes to actually use the hand and do some kinesthetic learning at the same time. Get out a piece of paper and put down right at the top, what is your why? And then right underneath that, write what is your why? What is your why that you got into business? Many people got into business for a particular reason, and a lot of times we may have forgotten what that reason is. So it's good to put that down. So write down what is your why, and then from that, ask yourself that again. Why do I want that? If it's just to be able to provide for my kids, well, why? And just keep drilling down and down and down and down until you get to the point where you can't ask that anymore. The reason why is because that's the why that makes you cry. So if this makes sense to you, I'm going to ask you to jump into the chat box on the bottom of your page again and type just a big yes if it makes sense to you. This makes sense, and then you'll do this exercise right here and right now with me. Okay, I'm starting to see some yeses. Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Linda. Great. Okay. Okay, fantastic. Okay. So fantastic. I'm glad I'm seeing a lot of yeses from Brad, from Diane, from Matthew. Thank you all very much, and Cheryl as well. Great. Okay, so I'm going to give you just a minute or two. I know you may not have enough time to do it, but start working on that. Get that piece of paper out. What is your why? Why did you get into business? What is the why that makes you cry? Start writing, and I'll give you just a couple minutes. I'm going to stop talking. All right, keep working on that why. We want to keep moving on. I wish I had some music that I could play in the background for you guys while you're working on this, but unfortunately, I don't have anything right now to stream to you. So I'm not gonna try to sing. So don't worry. We'll just keep going on. So even if you weren't able to completely finish that exercise, maybe you haven't quite got to that point that you've gotten to the why that makes you cry. I would invite you to continue to work on that, and it is a very personal thing in terms of coming back down to the basics of why did you get into business, and why do you even want to get this business successful. So I'm going to pass that on to you now, Ash. Should we just move on then?
Okay. So are we on the next screen right here? Yes, we are. Again, what we send out in life is what we get. And we're still on the screen of the infinite flow of positive energy. What we send out in life is what we get. Negative, negative. I guess, this really, from the basic point of view, for those who don't understand the law of attraction, is just that. You can wake up on the wrong side of the bed. And again, I want to qualify for those of you thinking, well, what does this have to do with business? And, we really wanted to take it to a point where we want to leave you moved, touched, and inspired about something more important than business, more important than your career, more important than your daily activities and the hows that you do. This is really about that core piece of understanding of being that we want to share and take you to. Because when you can really, 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 really get that, you will be unstoppable. When you can really, really get this, what we're about to discuss, you will have so much passion that there is no getting out of bed and snubbing your toe. There's no waiting for the alarm clock at 6 o'clock in the morning. You're up by 5:30. You can't wait to get out of bed because you've got a why so huge that there's no stopping you. And I really, as a result of this entire webinar today, want you to feel that as the direct result of finding your why. It comes down to that core. So bear with me if you don't get it right now, but as we drill down onto these exercises, it's so important you get that. And so when Randy just completed what you did with Randy, those exercises, keep those pieces of paper because you want to get down to the why of the why of the why of the why, not just on your business side. You want to get down to the why of the why and the why about that on your career side and on your personal side as well, because they're so interrelated. And so the simple thought is, if we are what we think, and if you get a chance, listen to 20 minutes of a YouTube video called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It's my favorite video of all time. It's in 3 parts in 20 minutes. And the strangest secret, I'll tell you right now, in case you don't catch the video, is that we are what we think and how that extrapolates in life. So send out negative, that's what you get. Send out positive, that's what you get. So remember, in every moment of our being in the day, in our business, career, and life, what are you being and what are you sending? And here's the challenge, of course, because 87% of everything that we're exposed to is negative. And we know that from personally being involved with people, the water cooler talk at the office, or whatever we have in our home-based businesses, and anywhere we really go. It's unfortunately the dynamics of humanity, I think. I don't know. Is it what we're naturally attracted to? I don't know. My dad, I know, when I, see him sometimes, he'll have CNN on for the whole day. And I'll sit and I'll watch CNN for a half hour, and I can feel my energy drain. I don't know why. Specifically, is it the negativity? Is it the propaganda? I'm not quite sure. But that's what the challenge is. Let's take a look at what the opportunity and the solution can be. So, steps 1, 2, 3, 4, that's as easy as it is. What does it mean to you to flush the negative out? The negative that you think, the negative that is your reaction, the negative that is your, just maybe it's your way of being more times than not. Maybe it's your way of reacting when something happens to you. How do you replace it with the positive? How do you start to tweak your perspective so that it starts to become more and more and more and more positive? It took you a long time to get a certain way. It's going to take you a long time to become a better way. So it can start right there with you getting out of yourself. Some people say, oh, well, it's all about me. Let me flush my negative and get the positive in. It's actually more about how do you flush the negative out and get the positive in by sending more positive out to other people. Get out of yourself and give to others. Give yourself to others. Give whatever it is that you can think of to others. And it's so interesting. I am not quite sure if there's a mathematical equation to this, but the more you get out of yourself and give to others, I found the more you receive without expectation. So that's exactly what this solution is. You know, give it some thought and embrace it in your world with what it means to you to flush your negative out, to replace it with positive, to get out of yourself and send positive to the world every opportunity you get. And then you receive what you send out tenfold. It's just the law. So, energy is sent in 4 ways. We talked about sending energy out to the world, attracting great energy. If I was to ask you which is the most important of all of these, what would you say? Actually, it's interesting. We've got the chat box. If you feel like it, which would be the most important? Would love to have your answers. Is it the thoughts that we feel that give us the positive energy? Is it feelings that we have? Is it the words that we choose? Is it about just do it and the actions and the deeds? If you could give me some thoughts on that. All of the above, none of the above, some of the above. It's interesting. I don't know that there is an answer, and this is, you know, it's so subjective that the more I think about it, the deeper I get into the conversation just about this one question. But really, it comes down to, you know, with any interaction in life. And I mean, connecting with so many people. And if you're in business, it's about connecting. If you have a career, it's about connecting. If you didn't get that job because you were, you know, qualified and you didn't know how, well, it was about connecting. It's those who are connected, which has so many connotations, that get the better jobs, they receive the higher promotions, they fast track faster, they get more business, and they just seem to flow through life a lot easier. So there is no answer, but it's all about how you made people feel. It's never what you say or do. It's how you made them feel that everybody remembers. If you want to write that down and keep it with you in the day, use it with every interaction that you have. Be present to it, that it's not what you did, a good deed for someone. It's not what you said by making a phone call or sending them a written communication or you know, reaching out to someone in word or act. Yes, those are important because to do it starts something. It starts a series of chain reactions. But it's the result of how you made someone feel with what you did. The right words that you put together at the right time, the right empathy that you had to, you know, listen and understand someone. That is the key to success in everything, whether it's in business, career, or life, but then it starts with your success to interact with that human being who is in a position to give you more business. And it drives down to that level of deepness. How did you make them feel in that sales call, in that conversation, in that telephone call, or in that written communication? So very important. Give it some more thought. People don't care what you know either until they know how much you care about them. Maybe another way of saying that. So please give it some thought. It's the most powerful thing you can remember today. The golden question that we can continue to ask ourselves, am I sending out to get from them, or am I sending out to give to them? Again, you know, along the lines of people don't care what you know until they know how much you care. It really comes down to where are you coming from in your own existence, in doing business, in, you know, water cooler talk. It's okay to have water and do water cooler talk. Imagine if that water cooler talk was not about gossip, but it was about building someone else up behind their back. Imagine if it was, someone said something and he said, well, I know this other thing about them, and not getting the pat on the back saying, oh yeah, you stood up for someone, or not taking the credit to say, oh, well, Kathleen did this, and so she deserves a pat on the back or deserves some praise. No, it's about a very, very deep way of being that is all about just giving to give, giving to give. Some people give to get, some people just take to take. But then there's an order of ascension that we can exist at. And naturally, again, it extrapolates to more business, more sales, better career, better individual, better relationships, and everything is interrelated. So do we take to take? Do we give to get? Which is what a lot of people do. There's an expectation. I invited them for dinner. Well, I've not received my invitation yet. Well, how about in that moment if you invited those same people out to dinner again? Might be tough internally, but I wonder what that will feel like for you and the growth you're going to get out of it. So I invite you to take a look at the golden question for yourself. Am I sending out to get from them, or am I sending out to give to them? And for some, if this is a tough concept to understand, I'll hammer it home even harder. If we can exist in a total state of just give to give to give to give to give, trust me, and it's happened to me time and time again, that we will get back tenfold. But don't expect it, and don't give to get it. Just live in a total state of giving. So look at your own businesses. Look at the career you're in right now if you have a job. Look at your state of existence in your relationships, and ask yourself that question: how can I live in the moment of give to everyone that I meet and be in a total state of contribution? So the law of attraction says, if I'm sending out to give, the universe gives back. And, for many of us on the call, and for those who haven't, I'm sure most of us have heard of the book and the movie, The Secret. You've got some of the world's best thought leaders who have spoken on it. So enough said. That is the law of attraction. And, just don't question it. Know it and believe it, even though you don't see it. Something like electricity. We don't need to know it's there. You just know you can turn off the switch and it'll give you light. Sending to self, this is the most important thing. Again, as we go deeper into finding your why, your purpose statement, without which you can't have the passion. Sending to self. What are you sending to yourself on a daily basis? On a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a moment-by-moment basis, really it is. What are you sending to yourself in the moment? Are you present to this moment right now? And you will be if, as Randy asked you, you shut off your computer, your email, your cell phone, your text. You're totally focused on you right now. It's not me speaking. It's about you receiving something so powerful, about a conversation that you are having with yourself. And that conversation is about you and your why statement and who you are. So what do you do when you talk with yourself? What are the words you use? What are the thoughts you have? What is that conversation all about? How do you finish the sentence? And we'll be getting into that. I am. But just give it some thought right now. I am. I'm an electrician. I'm a plumber. Do you attach yourself to your job? Does it go deeper? And here we are. It is the power of I am, which comes from the conversations we have with ourselves. If we're going to save our business, if it's in that state of being, or if we're going to grow our business, whatever state the business is in, it starts with the conversation you have with yourself. And the power of the I am is where your why is built, your purpose is built, and your passion is grown.
So that's great. So we want now for you to spend a little bit of time and actually do this exercise that Ash just talked about. I mean, naturally, index cards is, again, an old school kind of way of doing it. Maybe you just have a Word document you want to put them into, fine, no big deal. But I actually want to give you a little bit of time to actually try to come up with your I am statements. And by that, what it would basically mean from that is basically start writing, I am what? I am, for me, I wrote down, I'm a loving husband and I have an awesome relationship with my wife. So is that something that you strive for, that you desire in your life? Another one I have is I'm a loving father to my daughters. So what are the fundamental fundamental building blocks for your personal life, because that is where it then relates back to your business. So where does your fit in? I am what kind of a boss? I am what kind of a business owner, and so forth. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes again to start writing down your I am statements. What are you? And start writing them down now. Okay, I wish I had more time for you guys to continue to work on your I am statements.
So I think
what I'm going to do,
as you're doing your I am statements, you probably want to take a look at some of the deeper questions about like what inspires you as you think about that. What do I love to do? What are some of the things you really, really love to do? It doesn't matter what it is. Don't judge it. Don't judge it. If knitting is something that takes you to a deep place, even if you're a guy, don't judge it. What am I passionate about? What moves you deeply? And I mean, if you want to take it as deep, because this exercise is so important, you're going to be producing something out of it you're going to carry with you on a card, on your iPhone, on your phone, whatever. It's just a little reminder of you of what your I am statement is. So you really want to take it deep. What would you give up your life for? Is there something you would give up your life for? So I've heard
so
that.
I think what we should do now is let me just summarize this, Ash, and then
do anything you ask them to do for a raise, for more money in a job, but people will give up their life for a cause. What is your cause? If you've forgotten the fact that you had a cause, but once upon a time you wanted to make a bigger difference in the world, well, resurrect that and get deeper into it, because that is where your real why lies. That is where your why becomes your I am statement. So You might want to get into what really sometimes absolutely wakes you up at, earlier than the alarm clock. You felt that before. Hopefully it's not the cold sweat of the tax collector who's, it could be a number of different things, but, what is it actually that keeps you up at night? It might be unpaid bills, but what is the other part of it that keeps you up at night where you can't sleep? You're so passionate about what it is that you're absolutely looking at ideas and strategies of how you can take it further. Sometimes I've heard it said, and I don't know how true this is because I'm not on my deathbed, but it's on the deathbed. It is not everything that we did and failed at that we regret, but everything that was offered to us, every shift that came our way, and every opportunity and thing we wanted to do but never attempted. It's the regret of the past and not the failure that becomes our biggest regret. So what is it that you always wanted to do and for what reason, and the why of the why of the why of that as you're taking that deeper? And I guess in my case, it really came down to family and my kids is where, the why of the why of the why came down to.
Okay, so you've now started working on your
I am. So that should start to drill down into, if you can actually keep it to one statement that is so crisp and clear. It may not come to you right now. We're in the middle of a call. You may need more time to really get into it. And I invite you to do that outside of this webinar. Really get into it. Take it while it's fresh in your mind. Step outside. If you're listening to the recording, even better, that you can actually put it on pause and take it away somewhere and spend some time to really get into what deeply resonates and moves you at the core level. And ultimately, if you get down to having a physical cry, then that is the why that made you cry. It is truly the why that makes you cry if it actually took you there. So whether you're in a public or private place, take yourself to that place, because that is what's going to be your anchor to the core. It is what will help you grow your roots so deep that that tree is going to be as tall as you want it to be. That structure is going to be a skyscraper based on how strong you build this particular piece of foundation called your why, your purpose, and your I am statement.
All right, so why don't we ask people on the call, Ash, to maybe share with us some of your I am statements. While people are typing those into the chat box on the bottom, I'll share with you some of my I am statements, and then maybe Ash can share some of yours. If we can
actually give, I think we've given everyone some time. They would naturally need more, but if we can maybe even wrap it up a little bit quicker so that we can spend some time on Q&A with people that might have other things that we can talk about. Perhaps we can move in that direction.
Sure, that's not a problem. Okay. Whoops.
Okay. So here's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. When we chose to build our webinar series out, and there were so many ideas that came to mind strategically as Randy and myself brainstormed this, because there's so much we bring to the table. Let me just tell you something. When Randy told you a little bit about himself, he may not have described it the way I saw it, and the reason I decided to partner with him, because, see, I'm the best at what I do. I am truly the best connector out there. I am, on the joint venture side on connecting and triangulating opportunities. I've just developed such advanced strategies that I wanted to partner with someone who was the best at what they did. So in one word, That's why I partnered with Randy. He is that prolific, and you're going to see that on the upcoming series of webinars, not just on internet marketing, not just on social media, leveraging mobile marketing, cell phone stuff and QR codes. It'll go a lot deeper that you'll see. And so we could have brought a whole slew of topics to the buffet table to start this conversation, but we decided to go into something that was not even about business. Because what this is it's about putting the oxygen mask to your, if you've heard the plane example, it's about putting the oxygen mask to yourself when the plane's going down before you can save anybody else. The same thing for your business, your employees, the people around you. This is the mask to you, so you can have a breath of fresh oxygen and intention and purpose in going into your why statement. And so you know that the why became your I am statement. It's how you complete that one-line statement of who you are. You're not a business owner, you're not a photographer, a plumber, or whoever you are. So I invite you all to go into that very, very deeply. Really find that if you can go into that why that does make you cry, it is probably the most powerful place you want to be in. It's the most powerful place you want to anchor in yourself, so that when times are not so cool and when the weather might be rotten, or you just have stuff and life gets in the way, you've got such purpose, such passion, that anybody that sees you is swept in your tidal wave of passion and purpose to be there with you in whatever way of contribution. And I've done this exercise so many times, and I want to share with you what my why became as I did it just in the last couple of weeks, and it's what drove me to want to do this business builder foundation training with the why statement. Because for the longest time, I thought I had different types of whys. The why to connect people, to connect the world, to have 1 million friends, to make a difference in the lives of people, to leave people moved, touched, and inspired about themselves, and to build businesses bigger. But it was never something that moved me into a state. And as I started to really spend some time in looking at my own, success, and I would say in many ways, not lack off, but I've definitely not gone to where my potential is myself. And I'm transparent about that in my call with you today. And so I asked myself that question. I said, where am I, not having the passion that I've lost a long time ago when I was a lot younger? And I invite you to go to that place too, when you might have wanted to become a fighter pilot for whatever reason, or a firefighter, or whatever it is. And somewhere there, you may have lost it. I know I lost it. And, I just got caught up on the day-to-day activities of fighting at every little shiny lure that came my way, and other things that you get involved in to earn money. But as I thought about it, I really came down to my own intention, which was to not just make a difference in the lives of others, but to be an example to my own kids of what is possible for them. And so the why of connecting, the why of making a difference, the why of helping people, the why of building businesses, drilled down to a very singular purpose that is way outside of business, which is why we went here, but it has everything to do with my business going forward, and I hope yours too, as you drill down into yours. And it became, I am an example of possibility to my children. And that's it. That was the one line that I have in my pocket, I keep in front of me, because if I can be an example of every possibility that I was given, whether it's business, career, life, or whatever, in my daily actions through the day, my kids are not going to listen to what I told them, but they're going to see and feel how I am. And that's the why that made me cry. I wanted to share it with you because I'd love to find out your why from everybody on the call today. If you wanted to send us the information, Randy, I don't know how we can compile it and do something, because I think for those of us who are willing to take it that deep, there's a deeper level of play we can all have going forward in this Business Builder series, because building a business is not just about making money, for me anyway. Building a business is more about inspiring my own customers, my own prospects, the people within my business in many very profound ways. And in doing that, I will be an example to my own children on who I am as a man and who I am as a father with everything I do, including business and every other aspect of life. So that is my why statement, and that is my I am statement that resulted. I am an example of possibility to my children. Invite you to find your own. I'd like to open this up to Q&A, Randy, unless you've got some thoughts as well.
Naturally, I mean, you know, it's the same exercise that you went through, I went through as well. I mean, I could share as well, but I think given that we only have you know, a few minutes left, maybe it would be good to open it up to Q&A, and at some other point I'll have the opportunity to be able to share as well. So definitely, if you guys have any questions about kind of what Ash went through, what I went
Linda,
through, and
thank
so
you
forth,
so much
then please
for
put the questions in.
Your I am statement. If anybody else wants to, you're more than welcome to type it out there. Randy, do you want to take over?
I'm guessing Ash can't hear me because he
All
keeps
right, so
cutting me off.
while we're waiting for Randy, I'd love for you, if you can hear me, to type in your I am statement. So just type in the chat box that you can hear me and that we are connected on the webinar, that you can hear me speak. Okay, so it looks like I can't hear you. This is awesome, the power of webinars. Randy, why don't you take it over, and let's complete with Q&A, and let's wrap up the call.
All right, I just took over in terms of the overall running of the group now, so I think I'm the only one that you can probably hear, just so that we don't keep getting run over backwards and forwards. So really what we'd love for you to be able to ask us any questions you might have had about anything you've heard and so forth. So if you have, then please type the questions into the box. I have seen many of you type in about other I am statements that you have, and that's phenomenal. I'm glad to hear that that's helping you guys as well. So please, if you have any other questions, go ahead, and I'll turn Ash back on once once we're ready to start with some of the Q&A. If you have any questions at all about what we've talked about today, then please ask us any questions you might have in the chat box on the bottom. Wow. Well, I guess if there's no questions, I guess what we've been talking about must be so startlingly clear that you guys are able to follow exactly where we're going, and that's fantastic. But feel free to let me know in terms of if there's any other questions, and we'll be able to take on some of those questions as well. Okay. All right, we've got some questions about the next webinar coming up, and Oh, okay. So Kathleen wanted to know what is my why statement. So why don't I give my why statement and a few of my I am statements then, since we've got a couple minutes here, and feel free to keep asking questions if you have any, and we'll see if we can cover them as well. So my why goes back to actually my own childhood and so forth. My parents actually got divorced when I was in high school and so forth, and that caused a number of disruptions in my life, of course, not quite knowing what's going on and where I belong, and issues with family and whatnot. So definitely one of the things that I got out of that, which was always very important in my life, was in terms of family and how important family is, and how important it is to love your spouse and to have a committed relationship with them. So that for me was definitely a piece that was very important to me. Now you may ask, well, how does that translate to business? So how does that become a why statement? Well, the reason it translates is because of that. As I think I mentioned earlier, I do have two daughters. It was very important for me to be able to have time to be able to spend with them. So I wanted to make sure that when I built my business and built it up from the start, that it was really much focused on having that time to be available for my kids as well as my wife. And that's why for me, being a business where we actually could work from the home, so that I'm actually here when my kids come home from school and whatnot, that was really my why of why I wanted to have a business that I could actually have that sort of a lifestyle. Naturally, in terms of what I do and so forth, in terms of helping small businesses and I guess even larger and medium-sized businesses in their internet marketing, the reason that became more important to me is because I wanted to be able to help other businesses so that they would have so many customers coming through their doors that they could hire other people, that they could build their businesses to the point whereby that they could have that miracle everyone talks about, a 4-hour work week. Wouldn't that be amazing to be able to have it at that point? And the only way that's even possible is it all starts with sales. So how do you get more sales? Well, you have to have strong marketing. So that was really my why for starting the business and where I've gone and so forth from that. So that is my mission, my sort of why statement, my mission statement and so forth in life. And let me go through some of my I am statements, and then we can close off in terms of what the next steps are and what's going on next week. So here's some of my I am statements. I am a child of God and I glorify Him. I'm a loving husband, have an awesome relationship with my wife. I'm a loving father to my daughters. I have a fun business, making a difference in other people's lives. I am inspiring and teaching others. I am making a difference in kids' lives around the world. I am healthy and well-toned. I'm financially independent, and I'm free to do what I want, when I want, and where I want to do it. So those are my whys and I am statements and so forth. So we definitely invite you, if you'd like to share yours with us as well, then please do. We would love to be able to hear them as well. I'm going to close off now by just going in to talk a little bit about next week. Actually, I don't know if I can get Ash back. Let me see if I can. Maybe he can talk about what's coming up next week.
So now that we have the why in place, now that the foundation is being built, it has been built, and the more you practice the why statements and the I am statements, the more cement you're going to pour into the foundation, the stronger you make it. Now, next week, we'll get into the how. This is the meat and potatoes. This is where Randy comes in. I got to tell you, when Randy introduced himself at the beginning of the webinar, he was very, very humble and conservative with what he's accomplished already. I'll just tell you that, I'm the best at what I do in connecting businesses to do more business. And I naturally partner and I seek out the best of the best. And the reason I seeked out Randy is, in my opinion, if it comes to internet marketing, if it comes to local internet marketing, if it comes to anything way beyond search engine optimization and website design and development, all the nitty-gritties of, the fun stuff, mobile marketing, what's new and crazy. See, you want a guy that not just knows how to design, but you want someone who understands business. That's who you're getting to train you next week. And so we'll get into the basics of what is your website. People already know you before they have called you because they've researched you online. If you don't believe it, believe it. Your website will speak volumes about you. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. And that's what you'll be learning next week. You want to be here. You want to invite your friends to this webinar, people that you know, love, and care about. You care about their businesses. Make sure they're on here. So share it with your friends so that they can come and get a piece of this. And forward the recording to them to give them what we learned in the foundationary stage in the first webinar. So that's what you'll get: the website, lead magnets, how to get the traffic to your website, how do you have those special secret sauce reports that compel people to leave their emails, and then how do you capture those emails into an autoresponder system, and how do you build your list? So people come to me and say, Ash, mail out for me so that we can put some butts in the seats. Well, how do you do the same thing yourself? You can, if you learn the integration of what's happening in the most important tool you can have in your business. How do you leverage social media in the 4 important Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube? How do you understand video marketing, which is the new domain for search engine optimization, and bring it all to your main blog? Randy is the guru. And so for what I told you about, of course, will be a few different trainings, but that's where you're going to start with how people research you and what first impression do you make before they even pick up the phone to call you. Be here next week on September the 28th, same bat station, and we look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much for joining us on the call today, and cheers to building a very successful business together.